Did you know that giraffes and humans have exactly the same number of neck vertebrae? 7. Just 7. The difference, of course, is that a giraffe's neck is 6 feet long, while a human's is significantly less impressive. And yet, despite this, the giraffe is stuck with the same basic blueprint. Because nature, for all its wonders, is not above cutting a few corners. Now, if an all-powerful designer had been sitting down with a fresh sheet of paper, sketching out the ultimate long-necked creature, they probably wouldn't have said, "Let's take the standard mammal's spine and just stretch it like pizza dough." But that's exactly what evolution did. Because evolution doesn't care about efficiency. It cares about survival. And if survival means repurposing what's already in the genetic toolbox, even if it's a clumsy, blood pressure nightmare of a solution, then so be it. The reason giraffes have 7 vertebrae is simple. They're mammals. Almost all mammals have 7. Humans, whales, tigers, bats, even your dog. 7 vertebrae, no more, no less. It's an iron rule of nature, and nature does not like to break its own rules. Not because it can't, but because every time it tries, things go horribly wrong. Take sloths, for example. Some species have dared to break the sacred 7 vertebrae rule, growing an extra 1 or 2. But in return, they've been cursed with slow metabolisms, poor thermoregulation, and a general lack of enthusiasm for life. The manatee, another vertebral heretic, also pays the price with sluggish movement and a face that looks permanently disappointed in its own existence. Messing with the vertebral count, it turns out, is risky business. So instead of adding more bones, evolution took the budget engineering approach with giraffes. Keep the 7, just make them bigger. A giraffe's vertebrae are massive, over 25 centimeters long each. That's 10 inches for those of you still clinging to the imperial system. These oversized bones are connected with ball and socket joints, giving giraffes just enough flexibility to reach for food or smack each other in the face during one of their elegant, slow-motion neck fencing battles. But of course, stretching a mammal's neck to ridiculous proportions comes with some complications. The biggest problem: gravity. The giraffe has to get blood up that absurdly long distance to its brain. So, evolution gave it a ridiculously powerful heart, capable of generating blood pressure that would kill a human. No, really. If you had the heart of a giraffe, your blood vessels would probably explode the moment you stood up. It's a high-stakes gamble in circulatory engineering, and yet, somehow, it works. And that's not the only biological oddity that giraffes are stuck with. Take the recurrent laryngeal nerve. In fish, this nerve takes a nice, direct route from the brain to the gills. But in mammals, thanks to evolutionary inheritance, it loops all the way down into the chest before swinging back up to the throat. In humans, this is just a minor inefficiency. In giraffes, it means that their laryngeal nerve has to travel 15 feet to do a job that should only take a few inches. It's the anatomical equivalent of taking the scenic route through 5 different time zones just to deliver a pizza next door. And here's where things get really interesting. If you were designing a giraffe from scratch, you wouldn't do it like this. You wouldn't force it to manage skyscraper-level blood pressure just to keep from fainting. You wouldn't send its nerves on a sightseeing tour of its entire body before letting them do their job. And you certainly wouldn't make it kneel in the most undignified way possible just to take a sip of water. But evolution doesn't design things. It modifies them. It takes the tools that already exist and repurposes them, even when that leads to bizarre, inefficient, Rube Goldberg machine solutions. That's why, despite the obvious disadvantages, the giraffe's ridiculous anatomy persists. Because in the end, it works. Not perfectly, not efficiently, but just well enough to avoid extinction. And that's where this gets awkward for the intelligent design crowd. If a giraffe were created as a one-off masterpiece, why copy-paste the human neck formula and just stretch it? Why not give it more vertebrae like birds have? Or a more direct nerve layout? Or, I don't know, a neck that doesn't require high-risk plumbing just to keep the lights on upstairs? The simplest answer is also the least convenient. Giraffes weren't designed. They evolved, and evolution doesn't do perfect. It does good enough. It's why giraffes have 7 vertebrae. It's why humans have a blind spot in their eyes. It's why the panda's thumb is a glorified wrist bone pretending to be useful. Evolution is full of quirks, inefficiencies, and leftovers from past iterations. But that's what makes it fascinating. Life isn't designed to be perfect. It's designed to survive, no matter how weird the solution ends up being. So next time you see a giraffe, just remember, you're looking at millions of years of trial and error engineering, held together by just 7 oversized bones, a precarious blood pressure system, and a total disregard for ergonomic efficiency. And somehow, despite all of that, it works.
Cheers!